In this module, we shall discuss about monetary policy. Monetary policy is the policy used by the central bank to regulate the supply of money in the economy. The Central Bank of India, that is, the Reserve Bank of India, plays the controlling authority here. This is a tool used to control even the inflation and the interest rates to ensure price stability and trust in the currency of a nation. The goals of monetary policy also include the contribution to the economic growth and stability, to lower unemployment rates and to maintain stability in the exchange rates with the currencies of other nations. The best monetary policy is termed as the optimal monetary policy, for which optimal inflation rate should be applicable in a nation. Monetary policies are generally of two types. First, expansionary policy. This type of policy increases the total supply of money in the economy. This was traditionally used to remove unemployment during recessionary period by lowering the interest rates, having the belief that easy credit will help business expand. Second, contractionary policy. This policy increases or expands the money supply, but at a pace even less than the normal, and in certain cases even shrinks it. It is intended to slow inflation and to avoid the resulting distortion of asset values. Monetary policy uses the following tactical approaches to maintain financial stability. Money supply. This practice involves the money supply by buying and selling government bonds. These are also known as open market operations, as the central bank make purchases and sales of government bonds in public markets. These involve generally the short term bonds. Money demand. This practice plays on the rule that the demand is dependent on the price. The price is the interest rate to be paid by the borrower. Therefore, through this rule, the central bank keeps on altering the interest rates to regulate the economy and bring in stability. Banking risk. This practice manages the risk within the banking system. In this, it specifies the reserve requirements of the banks. Then those reserves may be with the central bank or with the commercial banks only. They regulate the economy under this approach through the reserve ratios. Two primary tools are cash reserve ratio and statutory reserve ratio. The following three approaches, namely open market operations, regulating interest rate and reserve ratios, are the normal methods used by the Reserve Bank of India to ensure adequate supply of money in the economy with price stability. Learning outcomes. After studying this module, you shall be able to know the meaning and functions of monetary policy, learn the objectives of monetary policy, know the instruments used in using monetary policy, analyze the rules used in monetary policy with special emphasis to Taylor rule, create an overview on the parameters to be considered for optimal inflation rate, know about Friedman's theory of optimal inflation rate. Let us first understand the meaning and objectives of monetary policy. Monetary policy refers to the mechanism through which the monetary authority regulates the supply of money in the economy by using instruments such as that of interest rates to maintain the price stability and achieve better economic growth. This monetary authority is generally the central bank of the country. RBI, Reserve Bank of India, is the central bank of India. Objectives of monetary policy. Besides price stability, monetary policy accomplished the following tasks as well. First, full employment. Full employment is a situation favorable for any economy, not only because it increases output but also for the credit standing of a nation. Monetary policy helps achieving this target. Second, price stability. Another main objective of monetary policy is the price stability. Price stability is promoted to reduce the fluctuations in prices, as these fluctuations in prices bring uncertainty and instability in the economy. The focus of monetary policy is to facilitate the environment which is favorable to the economic development to run the project swiftly along with maintaining the stability. Third, economic growth. Economic growth is a situation where real GDP of a nation, that is the per capita income of the nation, increases over a period of time. Monetary policy aims at it. Fourth, balance of payment. This objective of monetary policy tries to achieve the equilibrium between the exports and the imports. Fifth, expansion of bank credit. One another important function of RBI is the controlled expansion of credit to commercial banks according to their seasonal requirements without affecting the output. Sixth, fixed investment. This objective of RBI focuses on the productivity of investments by having a control on non-essential fixed investment. Seventh, promote efficiency. RBI tries to increase the efficiency in the financial system by regulating and deregulating interest rates, ease operational constraints, introduce money market instruments, etc. Eighth, restriction of inventories and stocks. Excess stocking of inventories is not beneficial for any economy as it may make the stock outdated over a period of time and hence may lead to a loss. To avoid this kind of problem, the central bank carries out this special function of regulating the economic inventories. Ninth, reducing the rigidity. RBI brings flexibility in the operations which provide autonomy. It maintains its control on all the areas where prudence is required. I repeat, where prudence is required in the financial system. Moving on to the instruments of monetary policy. The instruments of monetary policy are of two types. First, quantitative or general or indirect. They are meant to regulate the quantity of credit in the economy through commercial banks. The various instruments used under this are bank rate operations, open market operations and changing reserve requirements. Second, qualitative or selective or direct. They are meant to regulate the type of credit from the central bank to the commercial banks. They include changing margin requirements and regulation of consumer credit. Both these methods are discussed herewith. First, bank rate policy. Bank rate is the rate at which the central bank rediscounts the government securities such as that of bills of exchange and other government securities held by the commercial banks. This goes the way when the central bank wants to control the inflationary situation in the economy, it raises the bank rate. This way, the demand of credit from the commercial bank reduces, which reduces the spare money in the hands of general public, which corrects the inflationary pressure. Similarly, when deflationary pressure is corrected by reducing the bank rates, economy is brought back to the equilibrium. Second is open market operations. It refers to sale and purchase of securities from the commercial banks by the central banks to regulate the economy. The Reserve Bank starts selling the securities held for the same to commercial banks when the prices start rising. This way, money is extracted from circulating in the economy and kept with the central bank as reserves. Similarly, when recessionary forces start in the economy, the central bank starts purchasing securities from the commercial banks to induce more money in the economy. Third is changes in reserve ratios. This is suggested by Keynes. This method says that every bank is required to keep certain reserves with them as well as with the central bank from the total deposits in the form of reserve fund. When prices rise, the central bank raises the reserve ratios as well. Now, as more money is in the firm, it reduces the money in circulation and hence economy moves towards the equilibrium. In the opposite, when the reverse ratio is lowered, the reserve with the commercial banks is reduced, but their lending ratio increases, which in turn bring more money in circulation. Equilibrium is achieved. Fourth, selective credit controls. Selective credit controls are used to regulate certain specific types of credit for particular purposes. They can be in the form of margin requirements as if there is specific speculative activity in the economy in particular sector in certain commodities. The RBI raised the margin requirement on them to reduce the investment in that particular commodity. Similarly, it reduces the margin on commodities which it wants to encourage investment in. Next, we shall discuss about monetary policy, rules and targets. Monetary policy rule is the basic rule in economics, which is also termed as Taylor rule as it was coined by John B. Taylor. It specifies that what should be the proportion with which the interest rates could be changed by central bank in response to the change in the inflation, output or other economic conditions. Taylor in general stipulates that for each percent of incremental change in inflation should be supported by more than a single percent change in interest rates. This aspect is also termed as Taylor principle. The objective of this principle is to bring price stability and economic stability with coordination to full employment by reducing the uncertainty and increasing the credibility by central bank. According to Taylor, the nominal interest rate and the divergences of inflation rates must respond simultaneously as actual gross domestic product respond to potential GDP. IT is equal to pi t plus r star t plus a pi in bracket pi t minus pi t star plus a y in bracket yt minus yt bar, where IT is the target short term nominal interest rate, pi t is the rate of inflation as measured by the GDP deflator, pi t star is the desired rate of inflation, RT star is the assumed equilibrium real interest rate, Yt is the logarithm of real GDP and Yt bar is the logarithm of potential output as determined by a linear trend. This equation suggests solving the inflationary pressure. A relatively high interest rate should be adopted when inflation is above its target or when output is above the full employment level. A relatively low interest rate is suggested in the opposite situation to increase output. Inflation targets. Reserve Bank of India uses inflation targeting as a tool of monetary policy to regulate the medium term inflation target. The underlying assumption in this is that long term economy is to be maintained and a price stability is desired. The central bank uses interest rate as, I repeat, as its short term monetary instrument. In inflation targeting, central bank keeps revising the interest rates to achieve the target, like they raise the interest rates based on above target inflation and lower the interest rates based on below target inflation. The basic principle is raising interest rate cools the economy and lowering it accelerates the same. Benefits. Inflation targeting give the following benefits to the economy. Helps monetary policy to focus on domestic considerations and face the economic shocks in a better way, which is difficult under fixed exchange rate system. Investors' uncertainty gets reduced. More transparency in the system is the key benefit of inflation targeting. This is because, I repeat, this is possible because the inflation targeting tends to maintain regular channels of communication with the public. It helps in better decision making by individuals, households and businesses, reduces financial and economic uncertainty, helps in increasing the accountability of central bank, leads to a higher economic growth. Limitations. Inflation targeting has been criticized on various grounds. One of the major amongst them is as follows: being criticized on neglecting the output shocks as it solely focuses on the price level. Further, we shall discuss the optimal inflation rate. RBI places much emphasis on maintaining low inflation rate, which in turn raises a question: how low should inflation be in an economy? Some say that the current level of inflation is acceptable, but others argue saying that inflation should be moved to zero level, while some others even focus by saying that the ideal inflation should be 2%, not above or below this. There are a number of theories to compare and analyze on this, and the best is termed as optimal inflation rate. Amongst the various arguments given by different economists, Friedman rule is considered the best to prove the same. Friedman rule is propounded by Milton Friedman. Basically, Friedman advocated the monetary rule by suggesting the inflation rate to be 0. The logic which he gave to prove his point was that the opportunity cost of holding money must be equal to the social cost of creating additional fiat money, and it is proved that the additional cost of creating money is 0. Therefore, the nominal rates of interest must be 0. In practical application, this would mean that the central bank should always strive to maintain a rate of deflation equal to the real interest rate on government bonds and other safe assets to bring the nominal interest rate to 0, resulting to a 0 loss to the individuals holding money due to inflation. This rule was considered very efficient for long run efficiency considerations. Friedman's theory. The only additional benefit of holding money is that the transaction cost gets reduced. Individuals try to equalize the marginal benefit with the marginal cost by economizing on their cash balances to get a positive nominal interest rate. In actual practice, this is not an optimal interest rate structure, as government may produce the cash without any additional cost until the supply is plentiful, though the actual optimal rate occurs when the nominal rate is 0, as at that point marginal social benefit and marginal social cost of holding money are equalized. Thus, Friedman's rule focuses on removing inefficiency, which in turn raises the output of the economy. Other views. The Federal Open Market Committee FOMC on the other hand suggests 2% as an ideal inflation rate, as according to them the economy is most consistent over the long run with this much inflation in the economy. They consider it best to bring in price stability in the economy and to achieve the full employment situation. An inflation higher than this could reduce the capability of the individuals to make accurate decisions and investments, while an inflation lesser than this will bring in an additional burden of falling into deflation, which perhaps may lead to weak economic conditions. Therefore, at least inflation of 2% will bring in more stability, as economy will not run into facing deflation. Let us now summarize what we have learned in this module. This paper states the meaning and the use of monetary policy. Monetary policy is a policy used by the central bank of a nation to regulate the supply of money in the economy. The main objective of central bank is to achieve price stability through this policy, but additional functions of monetary policy are to create employment opportunities, bring in the economic growth of the nation to get a positive balance of payment, expansion of bank credit, fixed investment to promote efficiency, restrictions on inventories, and reducing the rigidity in the economic system. To achieve these objectives, central bank primarily use two instruments: quantitative or general instruments, or second, qualitative or also known as selective instruments. Many strategies under this, like bank rate policy, open market operations, change in reserve ratios, and selective credit controls are used in this. Monetary policy is also supported with some rules, of which Taylor rule is the most common one, which talks about the quantum of change in interest rates in response to the change in the rate of inflation. He proved his theory through an equation. This paper also talks of optimum inflation rate, in which primary focus is on Friedman's theory, which says an optimal inflation rate is one where the inflation rate is brought to 0. Though there are other economists also which suggested keeping the inflation rate around 2% so as to bring in price stability. Thank you.